And so you started judo at a young age, and then you also grew up with your sister being a Olympic athlete and competing in the 96 and 2000 Olympics. What was that like?
Yeah. So my sister, she retired at 23. So I think sometimes, it's been a quarter century now. It was her last tournament was the Sydney Olympics in 2000. So next month or September will be a quarter century, or this month maybe. Um, so people forget some of her accomplishments, but she's one of the most decorated judo players in U.S. history. There's just no doubt about it. She's not only made two Olympic teams, but two separate weight divisions. The second one coming off an ACL tear that she had to obviously have surgically repaired and then compete. She also is one of just three U.S. judoka to win the Junior World Championships, which I think is one of the five toughest judo tournaments in the world, including senior tournaments. I think the Junior Worlds is just an unbelievably difficult tournament. And the other two are the huge UFC stars, Kayla Harrison and Ronda Rousey. But my sister was first, 94 in Cairo. She won the Junior Worlds. And it wasn't so difficult necessarily being more in the shadow because she earned everything that she got. She's super hard worker, mentally super tough. I think she was U.S. senior national champion at 14 years old. I think she won senior nationals. She was a really, really tough competitor and accomplished a great deal in a short time. Really a prodigy. Started fighting senior adults at 13, 14 years old. My dad started taking her first nationally and then internationally. And yeah, just it's great. I mean, she was a hard worker. And again, every accolade that she gets remembered a lot because of her acting, which she was also a child actress. But the reality is, her judo career stands on its own with most people who've ever played judo in the U.S. Either you can, she's up there for sure.
That's awesome. And so were you guys close enough in age that you were able to train together?
We have a 3.5 year age difference. I'm older, but there was size wise, we trained at the club together, but we didn't do rounds or anything like that. No, I mean, I
Mhm.
was always a lot bigger. She fought 45 kilos when she first moved into seniors and then 48 kilos and topped out at 52 for her second Olympics. So, no, and then she'd also switched clubs to take her judo competitively to the next level. She went up to Uptown, which became Cohen Brothers Judo, and trained with Stephen Irwin Cohen. And I was still training in the city at BTC in Uptown, another fantastic club. And then she moved pre Atlanta to the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs to train with Ed Liddy, the group out there. So yeah, we were on the mat together a lot, but no, seldom did we drill or train together. She was too tough for me anyway, so I it was better
Yeah.
for it was a no-win situation. So yeah,
Gotcha. Did you get to go to the any of the Olympics?
both. Yeah, both. Not only did I see her compete in Atlanta, we had a huge group in Atlanta of 30 plus, I think, people because it was in the country and it was the Centennial Games. And it was, she had a lot of support for Atlanta and went to the opening ceremonies, which was an unbelievable experience when Muhammad Ali lit the torch. I mean, super cool. And my mom and I went much smaller group to Sydney because it's just such a far and expensive
Mhm.
and time change. It was just difficult travel, but also did the opening ceremony for Sydney and saw her compete. Yeah, she fought well in Atlanta. She won her first match against Chinese Taipei, I think Taipei now, and then lost to Cuba, Savone, one of the great 48 kilo players of all time, but always seemed to lose to the greatest 48 kilo player of all time, Tamura from Japan, and then lost an iffy tactical match in repechage to the Algerian player. Otherwise, she might have fought, close to a medal. She was young, and then in Sydney, she fought five-time world champion from North Korea. Her first match, who beat Tamura in Atlanta, and then in repechage, she was pulled through. She fought Gravenstein from Netherlands, a really big, strong, talented 52. So yeah, she's competitive with anybody. But yeah, great experiences. I mean, Atlanta was really cool because she was able. Judo was later, so she was able to walk in the opening ceremony. And when you're walking in
Mhm.
the opening ceremony with your delegation, and the Olympics are in your country, I think that's a really cool experience. Not only obviously for the athlete, but for the family and then Sydney just being able to support what ended up being her last tournament. So yeah, it was great. Like I said, super hard worker, super tough mentally and physically as a competitor, and skilled as well. So she was, yeah, just a great competitor.
Yeah, it must have been pretty awesome getting to see that. I remember in the 96 Olympics in Atlanta, there was the bomb issue. Were you around for that or?
We were in Atlanta, but we were not at Centennial Park that day. I mean, it was big news, obviously, but we were not down in that area. And, I mean, obviously, and certainly post 9/11, there's much greater concerns being in open spaces and huge public gatherings. But I mean, you just have to be aware of your surroundings. So, yeah, of course, Richard Jewell, the whole story. But we weren't there that day. But yeah, seeing it on the news was kind of scary. But yeah, it didn't affect us and our experience, really. But obviously, for the people it did, that's terrible. And, it's a lasting impression of the Atlanta Games, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. And then you said you had mentioned she was a child actress as well, and she was in Home Alone.
Yeah, she was, I think, in the first two Home Alones. Yeah, she had some other movies where she was actually the lead actress. Could have very well been a very successful actress for a longer time, but chose the judo path. That was the path she wanted. She chose probably the far more difficult path, and yeah, deserves all the credit for that. But yeah, she got a lot of notoriety for that. But as I said earlier, her judo career stands on its own for sure, 100%.
And was she the big sister in Home Alone, or which character was she?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not a big Home Alone watcher. If I'm being honest, but I think she might have been the older. Yeah, I don't. You'd have to look it up. That's not my go-to holiday movie. So I don't know, but I think so. I think you're right there.
Probably about once every 4 or 5 years around Christmas time, and then I don't watch it again.
Everybody watches. I mean, it's a super one of the more popular movies of all time. So yeah, I don't know why I don't watch it, but yeah, I'm probably watching Christmas Story or It's a Wonderful Life too much. So